KOD Media presents the #1 late night talk show in the entire metaverse. Covering everything you need to know in the Knight's realm. You're watching The Night Shift. And now, your host, Chigaman Porto.
How you doing? What's up, Edge?
What's going on?
Not much, bro. It's that Monday night shift. We got a little special guest here tonight. I'm pretty excited, bro. We get to talk a little Swoops action. Here's the thing. I got to tell you right off the gate. I just love being able to say Swoops. You know what I mean? Like it just rolls off the tongue. It's perfect for me. Like all day today, I'm like, oh, how you doing, Swoops? Swoops?
Yeah.
Is it just me?
Oh, it's so easy. And I remember when David was talking about it back early in the year when they were just trying to come up with the name, and Swoops was like clear and away the best that I heard coming up with. It just reminds me of Cheryl Swoops too, legendary female hooper. So yeah, I think it's a real catchy name that's definitely gonna stick in people's minds.
Yeah, it really is. You can't forget. You know, people are like, oh, where do I look him up? I'm like, hey, you go to play Swoops. Swoops. It's perfect. But dude, I'm excited. Try to get some spoilers out of David. Get to know a little bit about what's been going on with the project. Kind of see where we're at, where we're going, and then I think we got some Knights Degen Swoops alpha we can drop tonight. If not, I'm gonna do it anyways. I was
gonna say I'll just leave that up to you.
Yeah, I mean, come on. What late night show doesn't drop, just spoilers all day? And we just won't warn David that I'm going to do it. Hopefully he's cool with it,
I'm sure he'll be all right.
Yeah, I think so. Look, I don't want to waste any time. Let's bring the man up himself, the founder of Swoops, David Goldberg. What's good, David?
What's going on, fellas? I can hear you when I'm in the green room, right?
Of course.
Snap. That's it. So that's it. All right.
Yes, you got full permission. Drop all the alpha. You're good. We'll get into it all today.
That's perfect, man. Hey, I appreciate you making time, hang out with us tonight. I know us behind the scenes are super excited for some of the stuff we're dropping today, but really wanted to kind of jump into how things have been going with the project, because, I mean, it was just really back in May, right, when you guys first did that first initial kind of deal?
Yeah. It feels – I mean, this has been an interesting couple of months in the crypto and NFT world. I think we were fortunate to have some venture backing so we can just put our heads down and build something pretty special while the rest of the world worries about floor prices and trading NFTs. And when we come out to the public in a couple of weeks, I think it's going to be pretty special.
That's awesome. So right now, I mean, I know how the daily thing kind of works, but for those in the chat or people that are watching that have no idea, can we kind of break down how Swoops works right now with the mode that it's in?
Sure. You want me to talk about what it is today, and then we'll talk about what it'll be in the future?
Yeah.
You want me to do the vision? Yeah. So today, so we are minting in 3 weeks for the Swoops OG project, right? Which is a Web3 basketball strategy game, very similar to what Zed Run does for horse racing. So it'll be our own world, our own incredible IP of these Swoops robots. If you haven't seen them, they look pretty amazing. And the goal here is really, I know Knights of Degen is pretty big on fantasy sports. It's to bring real ownership to fantasy sports and create really what ultimately looks like the ultimate dynasty league, right? So you will mint one-of-one players who will basically come in as rookies. You won't know a lot about them, and through gameplay and time and in-game mechanics, you will both improve and reveal what they are. The point of the game is to enter them in head-to-head contests, 5 players on 5 players. The goal is to optimize players, optimize lineups, and then optimize matchups against your opponent in what then is a simulated game, like a Zed Run simulated horse race.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, I saw the tweet today, it said, put a request in on who you'd want. I threw a little RJ Barrett, Patrick Ewing out there, So these are made up guys, right? Like robots. And so you're learning them as they go.
That's right. And the goal is, right, as much as we love the NBA, by owning our own IP, it gives us full creative license to do whatever we want, to defy gravity and the rules of actual basketball. We don't have to deal with licenses, injuries, fouls, the traditional aging of real players. And then every player in our universe can be a one of one. And so we will launch with 1,500 veteran players. It's like a snapshot of a league, almost an expansion draft. And then every 3 months after that, we will drop a new class of rookies.
All right. So before we jump any further, what does it take to get a Jigga Man Portal robot in the game? I mean, I think a 101 Jigga Man Portal, I'm totally okay with that. If you want to talk off screen about that, Dave.
We can talk about it. It's been a real conversation of, because we've had a lot of inbound from actual athletes and actual basketball players. And we're trying to thread the needle of what does an actual collaboration look like for someone. Ironically, like one of the people we're talking to, I heard you guys mentioning, Cheryl Swoops reached out to us. Her business manager happened to win like one of the first few days of basketball GM, and Kismet all came together. She saw the name. And so we're going to do something with her. And it's like, how do we insert someone like that into the game? I don't really have a good answer yet, but it's something that we're working on.
That's awesome. Now, Edge, I know you said you had questions that you wanted to throw out there. So I'm not going to steal all the thunder here. Let me let you jump in.
No, David, good to see you. I play the GM every day. Try to anyway. I've missed a couple, but incredibly fun, addicting strategy. I'm excited to see what the rest of the night community thinks of it as we go through and do this little venture that we are beginning together. And I also wanted to ask you, how exactly are the ratings dictated for defense? And are there ratings, or are they just invisible? Does that factor into their overall rating?
So are you talking about the Swoops GM game, which I should take a couple minutes and probably explain for everybody?
Yeah, let's do that.
About the old, yeah, so let's do that.
Let's do that.
Also,
okay,
kind of nice. Go back and forth. So
sounds good.
Swoops GM is what is live today. It was actually a side project that we built in a couple of weeks. We have incredible engineers and data scientists, and it came from almost two different places. For me, like, I'm the guy in the team that's like, I just want really cool shit. I want a cool experience for our users and our holders. Like, what can we do? And it was at the time I kept seeing at the moment, because like it's the basketball off season. So a lot of these conversations and debates, and a lot of them were happening on Instagram with those like cards. If you remember, it was like, pick one from each column, or you have $10. Who do you want from this row? And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if we can actually like take that one step further and almost settle those debates? And so that's what Swoops GM is. So Swoops GM takes actual NBA players and it takes their ratings. I believe it actually comes from like NBA 2K or one of those like data sources that is already out there. And it's a daily challenge where every morning we publish a team, and it's typically a team around a story, right? So it could be the Knicks if they add Donovan Mitchell, or we had one recently, the Rockets today, but if they kept MVP Harden, an MVP from like 4 years ago. And we run like all-time Duke team or Kansas team. So running all types of different scenarios. Then the community can submit one entry per person every day.
Nice.
There's a salary cap of a different pool of players every day to choose from. And the goal of the game is to find the best players for the salary cap that work together with chemistry that then also match up well against the team. So it's almost like a mini version of what we're going to have, but we've removed the variable of like NFTs and unrevealed players to make a smaller leap of faith that come there. From the engineering team, they're just looking for testing and feedback. So like, how can we try to break the system? Let's get 500 entries every single day. Let's see every scenario, see when the simulation breaks. And here's where we're at. So we have over 1,000 people playing the game. I'd say about 30 to 40% play every single day. It's pretty
incredible. Like Drew Austin. I mean, there's not a day you don't have the "I won with" tweet that he sends out every day.
I think Drew's a little upset. He wasn't as high up on the leaderboard as he thought. And so we do a daily prize. It's like $50 or $100 depending on the day for the daily winner, which is whoever wins by the widest margin. And then the thing that most people are excited about is the leaderboard, which is a 30-day accumulation. So we just announced yesterday, a Twitter user named Superfin won the actual challenge. I think he went like 23-7 over the 30-game period. He won $1,000. Second place was $500. And so we'll talk in a little bit about maybe what we're going to do with Knights of DGen.
Well, I think this just was a perfect segue to jump right into that, right? So I know the official date starts this Wednesday, I believe, right?
This Wednesday. And I know I didn't answer your question, Evan. After we talk about this, I'll come back and I'll give some alpha on how to best play the game for some of your users.
So we're doing Knights of DGen Swoops GM 10-day challenge. We're going to share this graphic. I got to wait till Wednesday, guys. That's the rules. Clay, everybody yelled at me already. Don't throw it out there. But you can easily screenshot this right now. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. All right, screenshotted. So I'm excited, man. So can we kind of break this down? So it's using what you have right now with the GM mode.
So very simply, it's taking what we do, but instead of for the public, this is a private contest just for the Knights of DGen. We're only running the similar type of contest for 2 communities. It's going to be the Knights of DGen and Vayner Sports. And we're doing that one because you guys are very awesome aligned communities around sports and gaming and gambling. And also because some of our friends like Drew and AJ Vaynerchuk are investors in Swoops. So we want to give them a little bit of an early look there. And so this is really just like a private contest for bragging rights and some prizes. And so we're going to be running 10 days. You will have your own link to submit for Knights of DGen, and then you'll have your own leaderboard that you guys can track on a daily basis. Similar rules apply. After 10 days, the best record, and then if there's a tie, it will go down to winning percentage and then differential. The winner will get 4 NFTs. It's 2 Knights and 2 Swoops player free mints. Second place will get 1 of each, and third place will just get 1. And we'll
I love how third place gets just 1. I mean, you're still getting 1 free swoop mint. So, I mean, totally. Placing in the top 3 is pretty awesome. And obviously, we know our Knights of DGen community is going to jump all over this without a doubt. So it's pretty cool because, I mean, literally, it's just Knight holders that's going to be in this tournament, right? With a leaderboard and all?
That's right.
Yeah. You heard it, Knights. It's right there. The graphic is beautiful. I mean, look at that. And I love how you guys always go with the every day at Swoops o'clock is when the results come out. Well played.
Yeah,
that is so on brand.
The goal here, right? Like, listen, winning is great. We all want to win and cash prizes, but to me, it's the conversation and the debates, right? So we launch a lineup at a certain time. Everybody posts their lineups. Once you submit your lineup, it's a single click share button that posts those graphics that you see all over Twitter, right? So even the non-tech savvy like me can actually post that. Then I believe it's 5:30 p.m. Pacific, so 8:30 Eastern time. The results get released and everyone gets a text message at the same time that either said you won with this team or you lost with this team. You can then click in. You can see the score and the entire box score. So you can start to get an understanding. Why did I win? Why did I lose? Who had a good game? What's the right matchup? What am I learning about the simulator? And then everyone posts those results again with the single click. So you have this one moment, call it like your water cooler moment in the metaverse, where everyone comes, see how they did, and can start talking. Why did you win? I should have won. And you know how it all goes.
Yeah. So I'll address this question because you know it's going to come up from people in the community, and we'll just do it here now. So it's already cut and clipped tomorrow and ready for Wednesday. For people to play, I mean, do they have to pay anything to enter? Is anything like that? They're able to just play, right?
You have to hold a night.
Hold a night and you're in. Simple.
Free for you, and we put up the prizes.
Guys, I mean, that's a no-brainer. All right, so now that we know the awesome thing that we're doing, starting with that 10-day challenge, now this is where you give us a little insight on how we should really be looking to do these rosters and make Evan happy. He showed up for that one question. You know he did. Look at him smiling away. He's choosing so hard.
And I also see David. Last time I looked, David was like second on the overall leaderboard. Is that accurate?
It was until I got removed. We wound up removing all the team members.
Okay.
I think I would have wound up tying for first.
I knew you were on a heck of a streak. I forgot to do it too many days to have a chance, but I saw you're up there.
Yeah, I got hot for a while. We have a very competitive internal
tournament.
If you
That's always fun. Yes.
So we actually had a Spaces this morning that kind of gave our own review of the previous 30-day challenge. We had the 2 winners come up and give a little bit of their insight. So happy to share some of my learnings and some of their learnings, around what's happening. And so first and foremost, I think it's important to understand kind of how the simulator works, right? Like The players are the players. Everyone knows who they are. We actually put their overall ratings there right in the game. And we're banking on people leveraging some of their own knowledge of players about what kinds of players are they? Are they offensive players, defensive players? What kind of, like, you need to have some basketball knowledge, I think, to do well here. Then it's important to know two main things about the simulator. One, there is a chemistry rating. What does that mean? It will take a look at the style of the 5 players that you put together, and it will basically assign a chemistry rating. The lower that rating, the more your player's sort of attributes get dinged. So, for example, if you put together a lineup of like, I don't know, Trae Young and Steph Curry and who's another, guard that shoots threes and get assists, right? Like, listen, that team's still going to be pretty good, but those players won't perform up to their standards because they don't have different types of players that complement one another, right? So it's not just put the 5 best players together, right? We should be able to learn from some of these super teams. It's about who can play some defense and who's maybe a point guard and who's a 3-and-D guy and who's your offensive alpha shooter. So think about that. The second thing is the way that this version of the simulator.
Sorry to cut you off, but I mean, the chemistry part is huge, right? Because like you said, I love the fact that it's not just pick your 5 guys and everybody's picking the same 5, right? You always want to go with your 5 superstars, but the fact that you have to take that into account and their play style is huge. All right. Notes taken.
Until we get to like the real Swoops game, there's 22 attributes of team defense, interior defense, post, and like crazy algorithms that the goal is to never really be able to figure out. It's to chip away at the puzzle, but I'll get there in a little bit. And so the other thing that's important to know about this simulator, which is sort of V1, is offensive and defensive matchups are predominantly 1-of-1. You're basically looking at, once you have that chemistry rating, the positions line up. So if you look either vertically or horizontally, it's like guard, guard, forward, forward, center, guard, guard, forward, forward, center. It's basically 5 individual matchups. So even though it's like 2 guards and 2 forwards, be thoughtful about which guard you put in which place and which forward you put in which place. If you want, Marcus Smart on their best guard as a defender, you want to have them match up horizontally.
Yeah, I've been using that strategy quite a bit. I just build it as if I were going up against somebody in a DK head-to-head, and I just wanted to, but also that's why I was so interested about the ratings, because some of them, like Dame, I always see in AD are like $4, where 5's the highest price, and there might be a couple $5 guys that have a lower rating than those guys overall. But so I'm assuming that like defense is coming into play with those ratings. But then again, I don't know, because AD is a good defender.
The dollars is something that we put in manually as we sort of change the salary cap. So the part I left out is, depending on the lineup that we put out, and sometimes we put out like a superstar lineup, right? It'll be, Luka and Embiid and another superstar. Maybe they have a salary cap of like $18, $19. It's $1 through $5. Other days we have a very different challenge. It's all about role players stepping up. And I think one day we had a salary cap of $6, right, across 5 guys. And so the player pools and the salaries change every day. And so you can't really just figure out the answer and then set it and forget it. Every day is really a different new challenge, which I think should be interesting, especially for a 10-day challenge that the Knights are doing.
Now, are there people like me out there that would say, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and start the whole Knicks roster? Like, do you see people doing that, or are you seeing people really going with, all right, here, I'm going to make the best around the entire league?
I don't know if I've seen everybody's roster. You definitely see some wacky stuff. I've definitely seen a couple of the players who are like very serious Swoops fanatics do a lot of experimentation, right? Like all small ball, all big men, 2 $5 players and 3 scrubs, all $3 players, to just try to learn. It's hard to put together like all Knicks because we have smaller player pools. Now, fortunately for a Knicks fan, you could probably get everyone there. I don't know what that says about the Knicks, though.
Yeah, I got Sparty in the chat already talking crap. Yes, losers will do that. I didn't say they'd win. I said, are they doing it, Sparty? Shut up. All right. So how different, I mean, obviously with what's coming and where it is now, I mean, it seems like it's 2 different worlds completely from what you guys are about to put out.
Yeah. So, I mean, what we wanted to do is slowly bring people into our world, right? So by playing Swoops GM, what are you learning and how is that getting you used to, Swoops OG, as we call it? It's obviously not the players, right? You're going to go from NBA players to new players, so that's not going to be a thing, right? You're going to start to learn about lineup compilation, right? All these experiments that we're talking about, like what is it like to have a good defender on a good star? What is it like to have different types of players or superstars and then scrubs, and start to learn about that team chemistry, right? So I think that's
Makes
super
sense,
helpful too. How do I think about matchups, right, against other teams? Now, what's going to be different is a couple things, and they're all pretty big, right? One, you are going to have a universe of players that you're not going to know anything about other than their partially revealed attributes. And then as you play them and put them in contests, you start to see their stats and their performance. This will ultimately be a very statistics and analytics driven game, right? You will also, another big difference is instead of like everyone going against one team, these will be head-to-head contests, right? So the goal here is, you will enter a $1 contest, $5 contest, $10 contest. Someone else will enter and you will go head-to-head. We will also have some pretty large tournaments where it will look like an NCAA bracket. Think about it as a series of head-to-head matchups. So 64 teams enter, one leaves for big prize money.
Nice. Is there a world and in the plan for you guys where people can actually have like customized leagues? Let's say the Knights of Degen wanted to do, 32 teams or something. Is that going to be something that's possibility?
Probably not on day one. We're going to start with something called friend mode, which is at least like, hey, if you know someone in the game, you guys can go head to head with your lineups. I don't know if yet we're going to have like customized tournaments and stuff like that.
Right.
But listen, we have an incredible product engineering team. Like they're going to get to it all over time, but we're taking a long-term approach, right? What's special about these players, like real athletes, they come in as rookies, you know very little about them. You know their style, you know their like prospect status, but you don't know any of the underlying attributes. They're all unrevealed. Over time, they can get better or worse, and they slowly reveal as you learn about their players. So what's really nice about that is there's like a different user journey for everybody. Some people, I'm in win now mode. I want a bunch of veterans who I know exactly what they do, and they're at their peak, though they may start going downhill in another year or two. For us, a year is 3 months. There's 4 swoop seasons in every
Okay.
Others may say, listen, I want to get a bunch of rookies, take a flyers, and try to hit that lottery ticket, John Morant or whoever it is, and then I can ride that player out, lend him out for income, sell the player, or just ride him, hopefully, to a championship.
That's awesome. So, I mean, right off the gate, there's 2 questions for me. So, one, it kind of seems with this 10-day challenge we're doing with you guys, tournament, this is really good for us that haven't jumped into it to kind of learn that chemistry, kind of learn that stuff in preparation for what's about to come, right?
Totally.
Nice. And then I guess, go ahead, Edge.
I was just going to say, I view it as if you just take the names away from the players, it's essentially the same thing. I mean, there's going to be, if you don't have Dame Lillard, you have Gigaman Porto playing guard, and you just plug in the numbers for him. And so it's going to be really good to get used to it. And I'm just really, really excited for the actual product once we get to the putting together full teams.
Edge,
do we get to name the players?
You do. You'll get to name the players.
Okay, cool.
Can you already pick the content around this, Edge?
Oh,
I mean, come on, the videos and fun. We need a talk show just based around our Swoops team. You know what I mean? Like we do Knicks nights. What if we had our Knights of Degen Swoop show, right? I think it just, all right, here we go. I'm having that Dr. House moment.
You just add more stuff. You're adding more stuff to yourself. So,
yeah, whatever, Jay. It is what it is. So, number 2, you said this is releasing in about 3 weeks.
We're minting. Our whitelist mint is on September 14th. Public mint, if there is one, will be the next day. We're launching only 1,500 players because, again, keep in mind, we're going to drop new rookies as players evolve and ultimately age out and retire. And we have a really interesting mechanism for that. So we always want to be adding new supply, and we don't want to kind of overshock the system.
So will every new player of the 1,500 all start out as rookies? There's not going to be any like veterans mixed in, or will?
So this first drop, and only the first drop, will be more of a snapshot of the league. Otherwise, you're just going to have a bunch of rookies and nobody knows
Right.
anything about, and there's no constant variables. So these will be anywhere from 2-year veterans to probably 7 or 8 years, right? Nobody wants like a 34-year-old
Right.
player. And then after that, every season will only be rookies.
Got it. Yeah. Cool.
And then obviously you said whitelist, right? Is there still opportunities to get on that right now? Like, how's that going?
Yeah. So for example, we just announced anyone who just even played 20 games of our last monthly contest actually got a free mint, let alone a whitelist spot. And so we have another one coming up soon. Basically, if you engage and you're active and enthusiastic, we'll find a way to get you a whitelist spot. Our whole goal here, this is not like a PFP that's meant to go in a vault and not be used. This is meant to be played, right? If you have a player that sits there and just ages, it actually affects their player development like a real player. If you don't get in the game and get that experience, you're not going to get any better. And so we really want to get these players in the hands of players that will use them.
Awesome. And I mean, if you don't mind me asking, do we know what mint price is for those that want to get 0.05?
0.05.
All right.
In the whitelist, it will be a max of 2 and a max of 5 in the public mint. And so to enter a real contest, you need at least 1 NFT, but we have a free agent pool. We don't want to make it that you got to buy 5 and it's cost prohibitive. So we have 2 types of free agent pools. One is we have like the company owned free agents. So you could always fill out your lineup for no additional money. They're not going to be the best players. They'll be role players, but you could fill out your team and you'll be able to learn and compete that way. We will then launch, likely in season 2, the user-based free agent portal, which is you have a player, you can put him in the free agent pool and rent him out for a game. So if I'm entering a $100 contest or a tournament, I could say, hey, I'm missing a power forward. That's the missing piece. This is the perfect guy. I'm going to rent him for 1 game, and you're going to get the majority of that income.
Yeah, that's huge, David. I like that a lot. So let's say I get my guy and I start learning him and he is horrible, like just straight doo-doo. Is there I can get rid of this guy, burn this guy? What are some of the options there?
So we have a retirement mechanism, right? And obviously we need to have that because if we have supply keep coming in, we're going to need to have a way to retire. And so remember, every player has a very unique player development curve. Some, will peak in high school, as they say. Others will be late bloomers. Many will follow that traditional bell curve, peaking maybe in their mid to late 20s. At some point, and maybe early in their career or maybe later, like a player is not going to be worth utility. You're not going to want to play them in a game, and no one's going to pay you to rent them. So there's a user action that you could take, irreversible, one time only, retire a player. Now we're thinking about different ways that we can like reward you with like a future mint. But the main thing that retiring a player does is you can now forge that player with any active player in your locker room. What that really means, it's like a mentorship thing. So let's say you had LeBron James and after 10, 15 years, he's done. He sits there in your locker room with all these trophies. You can forge him with any player. And based on his performance, you get a one-time boost to all of the ratings of that underlying player. So there's some strategy. Maybe you want to acquire a retired player because you got the perfect match for him to mentor and give some of his attributes.
All right, can we start playing now?
It's very complex. We've put a lot of thought.
Yeah, it sounds
basically like we spent hundreds and hundreds of hours sitting in a room building the game that we wish existed and that we wanted to play as a bunch of basketball nerds.
So I guess I want to ask you, honestly, for you as the founder of this thing, like what is the one thing that you're most excited about with what you guys are about to do with this game?
So I want to be clear. I'm a co-founder. I have a
co-founder.
Manish is the CEO. He's awesome. He's highly technical. He's built out the entire product and data science teams. I think what I'm most excited about is for our players as well as like our users to take on identities of their own and create stories. And like, we've seen this a little bit with Zed Run of like creating stables and well-known horses, but like at the end of the day, it's horse racing and it's not a team sport and there's not a lot of stats. I think our users are going to go fucking nuts with this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not even out yet. I'm excited, man. Like I cannot wait. Like I don't have time, and Edge can verify I have no time for anything, but I swear to you, during this Knights of Degen 10-day challenge, I am going to find time to make sure I am getting that mint. I mean, I just got to do it. I'm calling you all out, Knights.
It
I'm
takes
jumping
30
in.
seconds. 30 seconds a day.
That's it. And Sparty, no, I'm not going with all Knicks. Shut it. All right? It's not happening. Edge, go ahead, man. I know you said you had another one.
Really, I mean, you kind of asked it already with the deflationary aspect of retiring players that I hadn't even gotten that far in the thought process to see what what that would be. But so just to make sure I understand it correctly, like if you have a player, just for the sake of this, defensive rating 8, shooting 3-point shooting 8, handles, let's say, was 3, and you have a CP3 type player who has really good handles, maybe like an 8 or a 9 on handles, but everything else is toast. How much of that, when you forge, like let's say you forge that CP3 retired player with the guy who's really weak with handles, does that just boost the handles or does it boost all categories?
So 1, this is not built and defined yet, and 2,
Right.
that's a little too much alpha for me. And the reason I tell you that is like the point of the game is to slowly chip away at this black box puzzle. It's all about using incomplete information, testing, experimenting. I want you and the community to have 20 different theories about how that forging and retirement works. I don't want to just give you the answers to the test.
I got you. All right. Fair enough. Respect it.
I like it. It's good. Edge, I mean, I got to give you credit, bro. You did try, right? You said, how far can I push it? That was good. That was good. I want to recap it again for everybody in the kingdom. Guys, super excited. I mean, literally starting this Wednesday, the Knights of Dejan Swoops GM 10-day challenge. I mean, just hearing about how it all works right now in this mode before we even jump into the next one. Super excited. First place, 4 NFTs. You're getting 2 Knights of Dejan, 2 free Swoop mints. Again, that's 914, right, David?
That's right.
All right. And second place, 2 NFTs. You're getting 1 KOD and you're getting 1 free Swoop. And then third place, you're getting the free Swoop. Make sure you pay attention to our comms. We've got some Twitter spaces coming up. We got a lot of stuff coming up to highlight everything. We got the Discord that's going to blow up and Twitter. And I mean, I know it's my job to encourage everybody. Do it. Make sure you do. But, this is one of those ones. If you guys want to hold back a little bit that first day so I can build up my points, totally feel free to do it.
Like in this part of my life, I appreciate participation trophies. So listen, play the game. Most of the days, you'll probably get yourself a whitelist. We want to hook the Knights of Dejan community up anyway. And I got to do my own little plug. Jump in the Swoops Discord. There's a special channel for Swoops GM. It's all nonstop posting of lineups, discussions, alpha dropping. So if you want to take this contest seriously, it's a good spot to be. And then you also just learn a lot about the game, coming up to the mint and how to get whitelist and stuff like that.
For those of you in the chat, I just dropped the link for the Discord. Yes, it was me. It's not going to take your seed phrase. I'm not trying to take your Knights or anything. All right. It's right there in the Discord. Man, I think we covered a lot right here, David. You stayed up late for us, got to hang out a little bit.
I'll tease a little bit with the next thing that we want to do with you guys. And this actually came about, it started with 2 friends of mine who are obviously big Knights, Drew Austin and Ja Rule, who the first day they submitted their lineups and they both won. And they're like, we want our lineups to go against each other. Right. And so this one we had to put together a little bit too quick, but ultimately what we can do is a kind of draft in the way that I know you guys are doing your football drafts right now. We can then simulate 7-game series head to head of any rosters made up, present, past, what have you. We've run about 1 million simulations to test our algorithm and to tweak all the little things right now.
See, I don't know if you noticed, David, but we got a show on Friday nights called Tonight We Ride. And it's our P2E Gaming Universe show. I mean, it sounds like this is going to have some full coverage on Friday nights for sure. And I know Zook is in the chat looking. He's already texting me. He's like, yep, we're in. We got to get these ASAP. So this dude's already calculating the 0.05. He's like, how many guys can we buy right off the gate? Man, David, I'm super excited, man. I love what you guys are doing. You said his name, right? Drew Austin's not going to allow us to get involved in this and his name and the Knights of DJ not be on the top of the leaderboard one way or another.
I got to give Drew even a little bit more credit. I don't think he's here. It's like morning time for Drew, basically. He's going to wake up for his like 9 hours of DJ nighting. I've been working on this idea for a while. It was about a year ago at the Bitcoin conference, and Drew and I are getting into some like late night DJ activities in Miami. And we wind up at the Winklevi house where they're having this big crazy party on the water. It's about 2:30 in the morning, and I'm sitting there next to Drew. We're doing the things that you would imagine Drew and I are doing. I'm like, I got to run something by you. And I started talking, and amazingly, like 50-60% of this is still as it exists today. And we literally just sat there. We probably went through like 3 joints and some other stuff, just vibing back and forth. So he was really the first one to help me flesh out what was going on here. And he's like, when you launch it, I'm investing, which he did. So got to give him a little bit of shout out.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a Drew night. I mean, nothing on that story was surprising, right? Drew, a couple J's, talking business, and then investing. It just sounds right, man. But I mean, I know for me personally, Edge, I don't speak for you, but you know, a lot of us believe if Drew's investing in it, then we know it's a play that's worth our attention, hands down, you know, especially as a night.
I appreciate that. And I'll just expand on that. So we raised a seed round of about $3.5 million. So our lead was a firm called Courtside Ventures. Courtside, all of their investors in their fund are professional athletes and sports owners. Then Gary Vee invested, Jason Robbins, who's the CEO of DraftKings, invested. Then the Philadelphia 76ers and Boston Celtics management teams invested. So we're trying to hit all of like sports, crypto, gaming, DraftKings. So, you know, we got a pretty amazing team. We have about 10 people full-time working on this, from product engineering and marketing and community. And so, you know, hopefully we can take that and build something pretty special.
So I got to ask, because you just said something that really caught my attention. Is there going to be an aspect in here? Because I know us Knights of Degen need to know, is there going to be a betting aspect on this, or, you know, putting up some money when you are competing against each other? So
definitely. So season 0, which we call like right after mint, we're going to run a month or 2 of free to play. We'll put some prizes. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like training camp where like, we want to be very careful, making sure we get everything right before we start messing with people's wallets. But it's going to be the perfect time to test out your players, reveal some of those attributes, really start to learn the game. When season 1 drops, that's full on real money gaming. So it's going to look a little bit like, I don't know if any of you play like online poker or like DraftKings DFS, where there'll be head-to-head matchups, multiplayer tournaments of everything from 25 cents up to hundreds of dollars.
That's awesome.
We will not have, just to be clear, third-party gambling for quite some time. I cannot bet on, you know, the 2 of you going head-to-head, because that brings in all types of regulation and licensing.
Right. No, that makes sense. So, and I'm going to ask you one more, and it's about the game itself, because the more we keep talking about it, I'm like, I got to get these things answered. So you had mentioned that the guys are forced to retire after 3 seasons?
No, they can retire. Most of them will play. It's like real athletes. They can play 15 seasons, maybe max, but some of them will fall off and you'll want to retire them early.
Okay. So with the falling off, so let's say strategy wise, does it if it's in your locker room, does that automatically count even if you don't play them, or do they have to play that season for it to count against them?
So it's kind of like real players in that there is an aging mechanism, which is based on time. Whatever you do with the player doesn't matter. Time is time. There's also like a mileage, almost like utilization, right? So there's going to be almost this like sweet spot of what is the right number of games that a player should be utilized to, on one hand, get enough experience, play, learn in their development, but not overplay where it sort of ramps up their development and they fatigue a little bit earlier.
Gotcha.
And so you want to kind of find yourself in that window.
Okay. Can you tell I'm bought in, bro? I mean, I'm just trying to find out as much strategy as I can.
We were onto something, honestly, when like this was the reaction of every user and potential customer we spoke to. It's just like 50 questions because they were so into it.
Right. Yeah, it's always a great sign. Man, well, David, I really do appreciate you making time to hang out with us. I'm super excited for the tournament to kick off, and I've got my notes here. I'm going to write everything out. Don't be surprised if I'm shooting you some emails asking some more questions that I need answered personally that I will not share with the Knights of Degen. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
of
just
course. Please do. And I'm a night holder. I probably won't participate in your tournament for obvious reasons, but I'll be in your Discord, to just root people on, share some alpha, and of course, answer any questions.
Awesome, man. Well, David, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Have a great night, and we look forward to kicking this thing off on Wednesday.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys. By the way,
Thanks, David.
This is awesome. This is my first time.
All right. I know. Hey, welcome anytime, especially once everything kicks off and you see the coverage that I'm going to put around Jigga Man, the robot Swoops player. We'll be back and talking.
Sounds good. I'll see you all Wednesday at Swoops o'clock.
Yeah, buddy.
Later, David.
Bye.
Dude, that is just freaking exciting right there. Like, super exciting. I mean, the GM mode now is cool, right? But to hear what it's about to be is ridiculous. Like, there's no question about it.
Yeah, and even as someone who played it every day, I wasn't even, aware of what the extent of the game is going to be. Fascinating, the forging idea. I know, he teases that out there, and you just start thinking about all the different possibilities on how you can combine players, or like he said, it was a mentorship. So is this player teaching?
I saw the wheels start turning before you asked the question, and you were like, what? Okay. And even in the chat, people were like, coach, mentor, everybody's ready to go, which is freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a very rewarding game, I would think, for those who put in the time to understand the mechanics and really, come up with a solid strategy. It'll be very interesting to see especially the P2P or PvP action.
Yeah, even Sir Pizza, how are we going to focus on this and VBA at the same time? Oh, we will. I smell committee. How you doing? See, but this is one of those ones where, we'll have a committee, right, to build around a Swoops team. But I also feel like, just like the VBA, you're also going to want to have your own personal team, right, that you're going at it, trying to build up. Man, I'm excited, dude.
And even something that kind of we glossed over was the renting out of players.
Yeah.
Like being able to, even if so for someone who maybe can't afford a full team, but you hit it big on a rookie and develop them well, and by using the borrowed players from their pool, then all of a sudden you have this stud and you can rent him out for tournaments or whatever the case may be, where he's just like a hired gun. So it'd be pretty cool for even those who want to play that angle and maybe try to make a little bit more money off of it, as opposed to the winning side of the game. I would think it would be pretty enticing.
Yeah, and then it opens up that door too, right? You got those that may not have time or want to invest in doing it, but they grab a couple that turn into studs and they just keep them in that locker room for people to rent out, And then I think for that too, it has that play of, when they decline, how much value are you not getting for the rent? Is it going to be a flat rent fee? There's so much that it sounds like this can do. It's going to be crazy.
So many people play, fantasy sports. Obviously, that's not breaking news or anything. But with this being a simulation and being able to go year round, and with the clear edge that there's going to be from paying attention and learning and staying on top of all the players that are in your locker room and not letting them age out, not letting their skills diminish because you're not playing them enough. Like, the people that pay attention are actively, keeping up with their roster day to day are going to be the ones that really succeed with this. So I'm very curious to see how many people, I would think it would be a lot, who play and love playing fantasy sports, and they're able to do this year round. It's like he said, the dynasty idea. So it's very cool. Very much looking forward to both having my own team and helping out with the Knights as well.
Yeah, and I mean, what's like we talked about with David is I'm excited for this 10-day challenge, because not only the prize pool, obviously that's pretty awesome, and the partnership with Swoops, but understanding what's about to come out, to know that you're actually, gonna learn some of this chemistry and take this time to really prepare yourself. Some of us haven't done it like you have, where it's been consistent every day, or Drew's text every morning about how he wins. So I think this is the perfect time for us to really get an idea of the mechanics. But man, September 14th is right around the corner for them to do the mint and launch everything. I mean, this is perfect timing for us.
I didn't even know, like, I've been toying with the lineups each day. The one thing I didn't realize is how he explained it, how it's 1-to-1 and those two players are essentially matching up. I assumed wrongfully, obviously, that it was a complete count of your skill level going up against the skill level of the other team, not necessarily that it was a 1v1 type situation in comparing the two. So, like, but I do consider each day, like he mentioned Marcus Smart, and I brought up Chris Paul because those two are, notoriously good defenders. And so if the team I'm making is playing against a stud at guard, scoring guard, well, I'm probably going to put Marcus Smart in that slot right across from him because I want to lock him down. And Marcus might not score that many points or do that much on the offensive end, but what he does on the defensive end to suppress, let's say, with Steph, might be enough to change the. It's just there's so much strategy. That's why I'm glad defense is factored. I just wasn't sure if it was. So
it's huge because that's when you start putting yourself in that position, like, oh, I need to get a different power forward because I need the one that's going to be that, 3-and-D guy, or the one that's going to be the rebound master, depending on your matchup. So it's going to have some definite strategy enhanced to it. But Edge, well, I got you here, man. Let's break down a couple of other things going on in the kingdom before we end the show tonight. Like, for instance, is this not like tomorrow's the last day to get registrations done for the KFFL, right?
Yeah, we are under 24 hours, I believe.
We've already got over 150 people in the KFFL. I mean, I remember when we first launched it, we're like, you know what? If we can get about 70 plus people, we'll be happy. Then we got to 100. We're like, okay, if we get to 120, that's awesome. 150, and you've got 24 hours to get your butts in there, guys. It's going to be epic. The amount of divisions, everything we're doing is just so exciting. And the prize pool itself is just freaking ridiculous, man. So huge. Oh, got a bug on you, bro?
I'm trying to show you this ladybug or this lightning bug that just landed on my hand. I'm sitting outside enjoying. Yeah, I'm sitting outside enjoying the weather. It's finally cooled down, so it's nice.
If you're in the chat and don't have a night yet, you know me, I don't just say go get one to get one. I mean, the KFFL alone is a reason to go get yourself a night. Call your friends, get them in. If they're fantasy football nuts and they love doing fantasy football, this is the perfect time to onboard. We got 24 hours. So, we had to step it up a little bit. So tomorrow night, we're actually going to do a full live draft from the KFFL. We've got, in this draft tomorrow night, we got me, we got Drew Austin, Jerry Ferreira, we got Sir Pizza in this one. We're going to do full live coverage for an hour tomorrow from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. We got AJ in there. I mean, it's about to be crazy, man. Joe Candy's been doing them in the Discord.
Oh, yeah. Is AJ Vaynerchuk is in it tomorrow?
No, this is
AJ Todd or Alex Todd.
Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, so Truth, Goblin Town, man. Yeah, he'll be in there. Him and Drew are good buddies. So
yeah, I had to use his Goblin. Look, he's right there. I had to use it.
Oh yeah, but Mr. Dow himself. Yep.
Yeah, we got Sir Fogel, Chef Eric is in there. We've just got all the guys.
It's gonna be a competitive division.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. A little live draft action. A good chance for people to come and see what these guys are going for on auction. Maybe get a good idea for your draft coming up and some strategy. I'm not saying I may or may not have tuned into a couple already in Discord to see what people are spending. There was one dude I thought spent way too much on Derrick Henry, but I won't call out who it was. But I'm super excited, man. Tomorrow night's going to be pretty awesome. Tomorrow night's crazy. Tomorrow, period, is crazy. I mean, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, our boy Jerry Ferrera hopping on the Yankees Morning Brew with Project Nerd HQ. Hector, guys, Yankees fan or not, this man is covering everything MLB. Obviously a focus on Yankees, but keeping up with the standings, what's going on in the news. Tomorrow morning is going to be huge. Appreciate everybody's support to go check that out tomorrow with Project Nerd HQ and our boy Jerry Ferrera. That's tomorrow morning. Then we got a draft at night, right? You would think that would be enough for the day. But of course, we just keep going. So then we got our boy Zook doing pickle juice tomorrow. What I love about his episode tomorrow, first of all, pickle juice has been taken off. Love what he's doing. But the guy he's got on tomorrow night, Mario, he actually just won the tournament this past weekend. So the timing couldn't have been any better. So that's kicking off tomorrow at 9 o'clock, literally right after the draft. And then it jumps into 10 o'clock with the What The Show with me, Jose Ruckus, and Coach Richie. I think I got to get to the point and realize sleep is probably not an option anymore, right?
You've got a wild 30-ish hours coming up here.
And I got to plug it, guys, before we end the show. 3 things I want to touch on. Number 1, can we talk about Matt Kalish, the co-founder of DraftKings, giving us a nice sweep? Our Knights of Degen, when we have a call to action, we represent every time. I mean, we literally retweeted, commented the out of that.
That was a quick mobilization too. I feel like we jumped on it quick, and a lot of people were all on board, and it definitely paid off. It's good to have Matt on board. He jumped in the Discord, was chatting it up with some of the guys, so very cool to have him in there, and excited to see what DraftKings has coming.
Yeah, it ended up being like over 20 nights, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
it wasn't just like a floor sweep either. He was going through and picking out some that he definitely, was vibing with. So,
yeah, exactly. Because at first we thought it was going to be just that bottle, and nah. He was like, well, this alien looks good. This robot looks good. Right. So that was pretty awesome. But not only awesome that they did it, but just seeing how our community rallies around something, man. That was so good. Another thing I think everybody will rally around is this right here. How you doing, man? Oh my gosh.
To you, baby.
College football action starting Wednesday. And before I play the last video, we'll end on the last video. Edge, man, appreciate you hanging out so we can talk Swoops. I'm excited about what we got going on with them, and just thanks, man, for hanging out. It's always great when you pop on.
Oh, yeah. Always have fun. Swoops going to be a fun time. I'm a basketball junkie, and this just, it's scratching the itch I have here in the next however many days till the NBA season starts.
You think I'm kidding. I'm not. Okay? I see a world where there's Knicks Knights that then leads into covering our VBA basketball teams, that jumps into covering our full coverage of our Swoops teams. Like, I'm telling you.
It's going to be a basketball night in the kingdom. I mean, it's
no
coming.
question. And then some simulation basketball tournaments at the same time. Ooh, guys, we tell you,
good times ahead.
Out loud, it happens.
Good times ahead.
Tune in, everything on there tomorrow, guys. It's in the Discord. It's on the KOD Media. If you haven't yet, just put a tweet out. Hey, you might want to follow KOD Media. It just makes sense to keep up with everything we've got going on. The shows are nonstop, and we got to plug it before we go, and then we'll end it on this note. Everybody have a great night, and don't forget, September 13th, the Degen Huddle. On that note, we're out. Peace.
Shining and boy, we winning. We about to make a killing. I don't care what you feeling. I know you wanna steal it. Want it, then come and get it. You want it, then come